Okay, let's get into this. It's kind of wild. Imagine you finally land that big Wall Street job offer, maybe even before you've walked across the graduation stage.
Right, you're said.
Exactly. But then a private equity firm comes calling. Not for right now, but maybe a job starting in, say, 2 years. And the money looks, well, a lot better.
The familiar story for many grads.
Totally. And you think, okay, I'll take the PE offer for later, use the bank job for experience. That was kind of the norm, right?
Was, yeah, a well-trodden path.
But JPMorgan Chase, they're putting their foot down hard. They're basically saying, accept one of those deferred PD offers, you're out. Fired. Maybe even before you clock in for day one.
It feels like a major shot fired in the talent wars.
Definitely. So we're going to unpack what's going on here. We've got this internal JPM memo from the co-head, Simmons and Gorey. And we're looking at commentary, expert takes, some pretty sharp criticism, too. Our mission, really, is to get to the heart of this policy. Why now? What's JPM thinking? Okay, so the policy itself. Just to be crystal clear, new hires, especially college grads, accept a deferred PE job within their first 18 months, or even before starting at JPM.
They're terminated. That's the message. It's pretty unambiguous.
And it sounds like this isn't just out of the blue. It lines up with things the CEO, Jamie Dimon, has said before.
Absolutely. He's been pretty outspoken about this practice, sometimes called cycle hiring. He hasn't liked it for a while.
Cycle hiring, right. Exactly. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it's basically the PE firms recruiting young bankers, sometimes first-year analysts, and locking them in for jobs that won't start for another year or two.
Ah, okay. So they secure the talent way in advance.
Exactly. And Diamond's point, which he's made publicly, is that he sees this as, unethical was the word he used.
Unethical. From the bank's viewpoint, what's the actual problem with an employee having a future PE job lined up? What are JPM's specific worries here?
The memo and the commentary around it point to a few things. One big one is conflicts of interest.
Right, like working on a deal with the firm you secretly plan to join.
Precisely. That's a major concern. Then there's, the risk of data leaks.
Yeah.
Confidential info getting out, intentionally or not.
Okay.
And frankly, just the practical side. They invest a ton in training these analysts. Time, money, resources.
Sure.
And if the person was always planning to leave after a year or so for that PE job they already accepted, the bank feels like that investment was, well, wasted. Like they were just being used as a training ground.
Okay, I get the bank's perspective now, but this move, it's caused quite a reaction, hasn't it? What are the different takes on this?
Oh, definitely. It's really split. On one side, you have people saying, finally, JPM is fighting back against what they see as exploitation.
Exploitation by the young bankers, you mean?
Yeah, the view that these analysts are just using the bank as a quick stepping stone, getting the training and prestige, then jumping ship to PE. So this policy is seen as reclaiming some control.
But hang on, is that entirely fair? I mean, private equity often pays significantly more, right? And maybe offers a faster career path. Isn't it just, rational ambition for young people to chase that?
That's exactly the counter-argument. That's the core criticism. Many are calling this policy harsh, even draconian.
Harsh, yeah.
They point out, look, banks already tried shortening analyst programs to keep people. Didn't really stop the flow to PE. So just threatening to fire people, it feels punitive.
And it doesn't fix the underlying reason why people want to leave, which is the attractiveness of the PE offer itself.
Exactly. It doesn't address the pull factors of private equity.
And some of the takes I saw were even stronger than just harsh, almost questioning the whole premise.
Oh, yeah. Some commentators are really going there. Questioning the ethics of a bank, essentially blocking employees from taking better-paying future jobs.
Like what?
You see terms like modern indentured servitude thrown around. Or framing it as a labor war heating up between the big banks and the PE firms.
Wow.
The argument there is, instead of threats, maybe banks need to look inward, improve their own deal, better pay, better work-life balance, clearer paths for advancement. Compete on merit, don't just try to lock people in.
So, bringing it all together, the bank's logic, the support, the really sharp critiques, what's the bottom line here from the sources?
The consensus seems to be, this is a bold move by JPM. Aggressive, even. A clear signal they want to stop this specific type of early poaching.
But there's always a but.
But the big question mark is whether it'll backfire. Just banning something doesn't suddenly make working at JPM more appealing than PE.
Right. The PE firms aren't just going to stop recruiting because of this memo.
Exactly. They'll find other ways.
Yeah.
Or maybe target people later. So this feels like a strong tactic, maybe, but not necessarily a winning strategy on its own if it's not paired with making the bank job itself more compelling long term.
It really just highlights how incredibly fierce the competition for talent is in finance. Firms are really pushing the envelope.
It absolutely does. And it leaves us, and you listening, with some big things to chew on, pulled straight from the analysis we looked at. Is this just the first step? Are banks going to start trying to ban other kinds of outside opportunities? And maybe the bigger question, facing the lure of PE, the money, the perceived faster track, is this talent war something the big investment banks can even win anymore unless they fundamentally change their own game? Something to think about.